Hello and welcome to Staying Power, a show that is all about building a better life. If you want to build a better life, and who doesn't, you are in the right place. And we hope that what we talk about today resonates with you. It is a special day here, though, at Staying Power. It is our 100th episode, ladies and gentlemen. And we are very, very excited about that. And by we, I mean myself, JDK Winnikin. And as always, across from me is the person you really show up for, let's be honest. That is the great, the incomparable, the wonderful person who has made Staying Power what it is, Ashley Kniebel. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so excited.
I know. Happy 100th episode.
Happy 100th.
I know. It's pretty fun. It's
You
hard to
look
believe.
good for 100.
We do.
Great.
We do. Yeah, we're aging well, I think. And if you're wondering, if you want to rule in on that for yourself, make sure you check out our YouTube channel and you can see what this looks like. You can see how we're doing. And of course, you can catch up on all other episodes of Staying Power as a podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find out more about us at our radio home, 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. At all those places, you can find all the links on how to get in touch with Ashley and myself, where to leave comments, ideas for future shows. Congratulations, if you will, on 100, because, you know, it is a big deal, actually, and all of that. So we hope to hear from you, and thank you so much for joining us today. So, holy moly, Ashley. Remember a few weeks ago we were in here and we were saying, yeah, you know, 100 is kind of creeping up on us.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, here it is.
And here it is.
Here it is. When big moments like this come up, do you get reflective, celebratory? Do you look back on anything?
Obviously, celebratory.
Well, yes.
I do like to celebrate. I do. I reflect back. I tend to look back at the very, very beginning, where I first was, where our show first was, when we started this, when you invited me on as a guest for the first time, and I just kind of stuck around.
Yeah, you never left.
I just moved in.
I
I was that girl. But it's been really cool to see how much growth that you and I have had.
Yeah.
As co-hosts on this show, how much growth the show has had, but how much we have grown as individuals. I tend to reflect back a lot on that.
Yeah, I do too. And I think everything you said is absolutely true. I think we've both grown individually. The show has grown. It's been a real fuel for our friendship too. I mean, we had a strong friendship coming into this, probably one of the reasons why it worked so well. But that's really built as well. And boy, we've had to do some work on occasion, haven't we, with this? Absolutely. If you had to pick one emotion or one feeling to best describe how that you have with this 100th episode happening right now, what would it be?
Oh, probably gratitude.
Gratitude?
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yes. It seems like a very fitting word for an all-encompassing of many things that I feel for this, but an overall sense of just real, pure, honest appreciation for having the opportunity to do this, but to have people support us.
Yeah.
And to have you co-hosting and doing this for so long with me, and it hasn't lost any momentum. It's just growing.
Yeah,
it's getting bigger and bigger and better.
Yeah, it is, and that has everything to do with all of you listening. And thank you so much for continuing to give us the support and the enthusiasm and the feedback that is so important for this, type of thing to be successful. And we have a lot of fun things going on. If you haven't taken a look at our social media feeds, please do, because our YouTube channel is up and running and it's updated, and we're going to have more content there. We'd love to see you over there. So if you're listening to this as a podcast, thank you so much for subscribing and leaving us a review. If you don't mind, just take a quick hop over to the Staying Power YouTube channel and take a look there, and keep coming back, because we're going to be putting things other than just these episodes. There's going to be more coming.
Oh, and while they're there, they should subscribe.
Yes, you should subscribe.
That shows us a lot of support. I know it seems like a small effort. It makes a huge impact for us.
It does. It does. It really does help us, and it helps the show grow and reach more people. And really the dream that Ashley and I have for this is to build this into a larger community where people are really kind of investing not only in what we're doing, but in what they're doing and communicating with each other and what they're doing. And so we have a ways to go there, but at the same time, if this is any indication, we are on the right track. So that feels good. I'd have to say it's gratitude for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a real sense of accomplishment to it too, even though even though accomplishment implies like an ending, but it's not the same way. The sense of accomplishment is not that this turned into something that I first expected it to be, that it turned into what it's supposed to be and how it works, right? And that you and I have been able to fashion that in a way where it's not just each of us and it's not just both of us, but it's something larger than that. That's pretty cool to be able to say we've got.
It is. And I mean, to think back how many topics, how many conversations we've had, how our conversations have grown over that amount of time. I mean, the fact that we've shared vulnerable personal things over the last, year and a half that it's taken for us to get here?
Yeah.
They were almost like little verbal journal entries, you know, and you can look back and be like, oh, I remember what I was going through when I recorded that. And oh, I remember where I was at in life and what I was dealing with. And my 2 minutes of terror was about, you know, whatever. And it's just really cool to see how much you've grown and how much I have as well.
For sure. And in addition to that, I think this show, the way it's grown, the way it's expanded, the way we're envisioning it is testament to what I've come to see as a real truth that other podcasters and others have talked about, that the key to a really great show is the chemistry of the people running it. The topic itself, you can kind of fit in wherever you want to fit in. It's that chemistry. And it says a lot about what we talk about on this show every single week, the importance of connection and people wanting it, wanting to connect and have conversations or listen to things that matter, that we all have in common. And in a time period where everything that we hear out loud is about how things are different or we're different from others, we all are seeking these connective points more and more. And I've always appreciated so much how your good humor and your openness and frankly, sometimes you're willing to just come out swinging on things, just creates a great environment for people to feel good about it.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, so I think we've offset each other pretty well that way.
I would concur.
Yeah. So, all right. So we hope that all of you listening today, whether it's your 100th time listening to the show or your first time, will focus with us today on gratitude. We're going to be talking a lot about that today in a lot of the contexts in which we already talk about it. Gratitude is one of the most important things that we can intentionally connect to every single day, whether you're like Ashley and myself and you're doing a podcast or you're not and you're doing other things. And frankly, sometimes the times we need to do it the most are when we're struggling the most to find the things that we are grateful for. And gratitude, what it does, certainly we've talked about it many times on the show before, it takes us out of the amygdala in the brain that is always, I know I talk about it every week, amygdala, it takes us from the part of the brain that's always looking for safety, certainty, tells all those emotionally driven stories, up to the front of our brain where we go, okay, I can feel all of that. And I can also do something with it. I can problem solve it. I can troubleshoot. I can share it. I can work it out loud. I can develop perspective. And yes, show gratitude. And what we're talking about in listing gratitude about the show is by intentionally bringing that out, we actually feel it more, right? With that. So, you know, you're going to have to indulge us, all of you listening today or watching, because we are going to be sort of, you know, patting ourselves on the back a little bit here, but also hopefully giving you an idea of where we're going. And, you know, how we want things to grow going forward. So if you think about it, Ashley, how many of our episodes have really been kind of gratitude in disguise?
In disguise.
Or how often do we come to it? Or how often do we express it on the show? I think it's probably a lot.
I would say quite often. Yes. Because I think even in some of the episodes that I wouldn't initially say like, oh, that was definitely full of gratitude. There's always a nugget or something in there, a little piece of wisdom or something in it that I think is reflecting on that. Or it's something I look back and I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful for that. That was such a good point. Or that's still, I carry it with me today.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It may not come right out with the word itself. But I do think as you go back and listen to some of our further out or more recent episodes, it's all in there. It is a very common thread and theme in our show.
It is. And, you know, I think even back to just last week's episode, you know, that was about adversity, right? And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, I highly encourage you to do so because it's kind of a pair to this episode, right? Kind of the other side of it. Because Ashley and I shared stories of adversity, of difficult stories that shaped us, that were really important in our upbringing. And we didn't know what they were before we shared them. And so it was meant to kind of really capture our reactions in the moment. And I actually had a moment, Ashley, in the middle of one of your stories where I didn't lose the connection with your story, but I was so blown away by what you were sharing. And I was like, whoa, the gratitude I had for your willingness to do that in that moment almost pushed me out of the moment where I was like, I was struggling to come back with something. And then I think you can actually hear it at the point where I was like, wow, I got to take that in for a minute. So, but the gratitude for that, because doing this, sharing these things, I know we do it willingly because we're coaches and we believe in this and we want people to do it, but it's still a difficult thing, whether you're putting it on the air or not. So the gratitude I had for that was really pronounced, but I think you're right. It's in there a lot. And I like to think that with our shows have, a structure to them in the sense of we want to give all of you some takeaways based on our experience and based on our knowledge and our practices as coaches that's helpful, right? Rather than just talk about something or have all of you go, oh yeah, I can relate to that. We'd like to give you some things to try out, right? And those types of things. And boy, the amount of times we hear from people who go, wow, I tried that and it worked, right? Or it helped, or I discovered this instead and that really worked. Those little things just stack up.
They do. Yeah. I had a story actually, because JD always has stories. I had a story of somebody that I used to work with at my last job, and they apparently listened to the show. I did not know that they listened to the show, so that's cool. I think cool. Back, at one point I mentioned oh yeah, I do this podcast, and they have been a listener, and they reached out one day recently and were just expressing how grateful they were for the show, and they're like, you guys talk about really interesting topics. And it kind of caught me by surprise for a moment, because I'm like, do we? And then I'm like, yeah, actually we do. Honestly, because I look at the topics that are talked about in our little sector of the podcast world and our genre, I suppose. And usually I see themes of topics where if you go to a lot of different business or personal development type of thing, they might be interviewing the same person across multiple podcasts, and it's a very similar topic, or there's a theme to what they're talking about. Sure. Which, if you like that topic or that person, that's great, because you're getting a lot of content.
Yeah, and those are some good.
They're fantastic.
Good shows. Yeah, for sure.
What I like about ours is we don't do that. We don't.
Yeah.
Ours just comes about naturally as something has happened in your life or mine. That's generally where all of our stuff always comes from. It's very organic.
It's in real time.
Also, I feel like why we can share so well. Because we're not talking about something like, oh, that's a great topic, let's just shoot the breeze about it. It's something that we're going through
and we're just working through.
Yeah. And you guys have learned so much about both of us.
That is true. That's a really good point, because what comes up for me with that is all those shows that you've talked about. We've even talked about a few on the show. We love Esther Perel, her show, right? We listen to that. Those can be great. What's interesting though, and this is something I always notice with podcasts, life isn't one topic. It's multiple topics, right? And there's obviously a lot of value in going to, if you want to learn, listen to a sports show, listen to a sports show. If you want to listen to one on relationships, listen to one on relationships. Ours is one where almost anything can come in and we can talk about, because building a better life does include things like enjoyment, right? Yeah. Whole life, and difficult things, fun things, silly things, right? And when I think of the topics that we've yet to explore, because we take them from throughout every cross-section of life, I think we literally have an endless supply, as long as we are living lives that engage in those things. And that's the gratitude I have too for this show, is that it pushes us to stay out there and keep living right this way. Because it's kind of fun. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that's one of the real strengths of the show. And to carry that, you got to be able to be vulnerable and connect. And fortunately, you and I have that nailed down.
Yes, I think we're getting there. There's always more room for opportunity. But
absolutely.
This show about this one particularly about gratitude and whatnot, it has also caused me, I think, as I've go through my daily professional life to pause and find things that I'm grateful for or appreciative of. And oddly, I've had moments where it might be with like a team member and I'm like, oh, I'm so frustrated with them because of something. However, even within that, once my initial like fire blows over, I'm like, I'm so grateful though that they work for me and they're so valuable to me. And doing this show, I think, has really helped shape me in the way that I handle certain things at work because of being so honest and vulnerable on here.
Yeah.
I take it home and then I think about it and I'm like, oh, I mentioned that to everybody and I'm actively working on that. But that means I can't just say I'm actively working on it. It means I need to do it.
Got to follow through on it. Yeah.
It's really helped to kind of keep me accountable, might be the right word.
Probably is.
But I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I get the same thing because we talk about stuff and we do have an idea of where we want episodes to go and we have a list of points and stuff that we know we want to make, but we do let it kind of just emerge as it does, right? From just a connected conversation. What's interesting about that though, what can happen is finish an episode, we go back to our lives, we start prepping for the next one, but everybody else who listens remembers it. I don't always remember it. And then I have friends and other people point out, you said in your podcast not too long ago, this, and this, and you seem to be struggling with that. What's going on? I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I never said I wasn't going to keep struggling with it, but there is that accountability.
Yeah,
it is kind of fun that way. All right. So today on Staying Power, as we go into our first break, we're going to talk about, 100th episode. Yes, we're going to talk about gratitude. We're going to kind of see where this goes, but we're also hopefully going to give you a little bit of a glimpse inside maybe some of the things you don't always see. We have some fun things planned for that. And, of course, talk a little bit about where we're going to be going from here, starting with episode 101 coming up next week. So stick around. Thanks so much for being here on Staying Power. We hope you'll be here on the other side of the break. If not, you can always catch up later. See you in a minute.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids are facing hunger every day? Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Thank you!
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Find our app in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and take us with you wherever you go. Alternative Talk AM 1150.
Welcome back to Staying Power. JD here with Ashley.
Hi.
Here for our 100th episode of Staying Power. And Ashley, in some ways, it just feels like so long ago that we started doing this. And then in other ways, it feels like it was just yesterday.
I know. I feel like I was like a child when I started this.
As a friend of mine says, time is not linear sometimes. It just feels like both, right? And so I think that's a really cool thing. So we want to talk a little bit about that. And the thing about gratitude, we were talking about a little bit before the break. Gratitude is key to growth, right? Because it's not just hard lessons, right, that teach us stuff. When we have gratitude for what came out of those hard things, or the gratitude for the things that stayed the same or stayed strong or stayed good, that actually helps us continue to move forward. And really building a better life is about growth. So that's why I think the show has so many different angles that it takes, because we can grow everywhere. All right. Before we get back into this, though, we have a special, I know I'm so chatty, but, got to set the tone, right?
Oh my God. We're never going to get to the episode. We're setting the tone the whole time.
You can always interrupt me.
Oh.
You can always.
Can I?
Good, you can.
Love to.
Let's do our, there's your challenge for episodes 101 to 200. Start interrupting me more. Before we keep going, let's do a special edition of our 2-minute segment. This week, it is 2 minutes of triumph. Here. Very good. Excellent.
Oh my
Seattle
goodness.
Mariners
This is
love.
now going to be JD's favorite.
Yes, it is,
episode
because
forever.
our engineer Nathan has been given carte blanche to play around with the sound drops. So well done, Nathan. All right. That was Dave Niehaus of Mariners fame, for all of you who didn't know. Anyway, Ashley.
Oh, me?
Yes.
I am grateful for you, actually. I know you
That's
had
your
no idea. I
triumph.
was
I'm
gonna-
your triumph?
Yeah, you're my triumph.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, actually, because it's a big triumph for you to be able to put up with me week after week.
Isn't that my triumph?
I don't know, is it? No, but it's
kind
really,
of.
it is. I'm thankful and blessed that I get to have such a great co-host who can put up with my verbal jabs and my little sassy self. And sometimes I fly off the handles behind the scenes. And you always create such a great framework. And the framework that you have provided over the last year and a half for me has really helped me grow as an individual. And I'm just growing on the air with all of you watching and listening. But it wouldn't be if I didn't have you there. So you are my triumph.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. It means a lot. And yeah, you are my triumph. I mean, this is a mutual admiration society today.
Was that what you were going to say?
That's what I was going to say.
Oh my
'cause
gosh.
You get to go first, and then of course I got to follow behind it. And it's like
I did not
creative.
know. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Of course. No,
took
it's
it.
okay. No, you didn't take it at all. No, because longtime listeners of my shows know this is my fourth show.
True.
Right? I've done a few of these, and I've loved them all.
And he's still talking.
And I'm still talking. It never stops. We know this. Most people that know me know this. And if I stop talking, I start writing. Right? So there's still words. That's how it always works. But nevertheless, this one, what's interesting about this show, though, is not to put too fine a point on it, and I don't mean it to be a pun, the staying power of this show became so much more evident than the other shows so much faster.
Oh.
The other shows were fine for what they were, and they ended up having a shelf life that they ended right when they needed to, right? And they'd done what they needed to do for me, and I think for the audience, and I'd gone as far with them as I could. This one became really important to me, and when you came on, it just added this whole other level of energy to it. And I think that was fed by the fact that we have a lot in common. We had recently, prior to that, had become coaches, and we're building practices and working with clients. So we were in this period of discovery with that. But also, you and I just approach the curiosities to life very similarly.
Mm-hmm.
We just do, right? And we also have some opinions on a number of things that align, and what matters, what doesn't. And we also enjoy being able to both take things seriously and also have fun. And the whole thing, I call you the straw that stirs the drink for a reason, because people have heard me do other shows for a long time, and they know what they're going to get when they listen to a show that I am on, and particularly if it's just me. With you, there's no way to know what they're going to get until they get here, right? And then they get to have the fun of watching me go, okay, how do I surf that wave with that? And there is that, and it's kind of funny that I've become like the what's the term in comedy? Like you're the real comedic act, and I'm the straight man. I'm the one who's just the normal one, just sitting taking it. You get to bounce off of me, but that actually makes the show work really well, because you highlight for me the areas, not just on the air but off the air, that I can continue to work on. And you've also started to grow into this over the last 50 episodes in particular, but really in the last few months, where it's funny, you talk about me talking all the time. We're about even now.
It's about time.
Yeah, it is about time, because you're not only stepping into that, but you just have so much to share with that. And I love listening to it, and it encourages me to keep working on that listening
Really?
side. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
So that's my triumph.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right.
Wow.
So where would you like to go with this celebration and reflection on 100?
Well, we have so many things we could do. I really liked our last episode where we shared back and forth a lot of vulnerability and whatnot. It was kind of a little spinoff of 99 Problems, right?
Right.
And this one is like 100 reasons to be grateful, 100 reasons of whatever we want it to be. Now, we're obviously not going to get through 100,
No.
but if you have one or two that are in the forefront of your mind, Maybe we can go back and forth.
Associated to the show
Sure.
or episodes?
It could be anything. It could be that. It could be life. It could be about the show. We've spent our whole first segment talking about the show. So we can talk
go to
about
life.
things in life
Sure.
if you want.
Yeah, mix it up.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's
Okay.
do that. I think people like hearing stories from us.
Yeah, well, there is so much behind the microphone that happens
Yes, there
in our
is.
life, you know, and
There is.
I love that about our show because most people see a version and then they create what's on the other side of the version that they see,
Yeah.
right? And they create whatever that person is because they only see us in one particular dimension. And I feel like we do a pretty good job at giving them a little bit of a snapshot behind the microphone, a little bit more. So they really know us a little bit better. But the more we
true.
share like this, the more they know.
Okay. All right. So you go first.
As always. Okay. Well, if we're doing life things, I would say for those that know me, and now for those that don't, you're going to know I spent roughly about 7-ish years in the racing circuit, particularly NASCAR and F1. There was other things as well, but those were like the main areas that I was involved in a lot.
Doesn't that just make her cooler? I've known this
Thanks.
for a long time. It just makes it cool. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep going.
But I worked for a manufacturing company that built particular parts for cars and for racing cars. And so I had to travel a lot to different racetracks. And what was so cool about that is that was a really great experience. However, I grew up watching racing with my dad. He was definitely into racing a lot. He was a machinist when he was since he was 10 and, always into all that. And I knew what he did for work, was always interested in it. And I would always watch it on TV. And then when I got to start doing that for work, him and I at one point were working for the same company. So we got to travel together and we became really close because we were traveling together. We were working together and we're going to racetracks and we're talking to engineers and crew chiefs and all the people I grew up seeing on TV. I'm I know on first name basis now.
That's amazing.
I know all these people and they're brilliant people. And I know some people tried NASCAR and, people from the South. I'm
no, that is.
These people are so incredibly smart.
That's
They're very
intricate stuff.
Talented.
And it's life and death.
Yes.
You got to be smart to do that kind of work.
I mean, they build an entire car in a couple of days. They
And
do a
then
pit
drive it at
stop in
200
11
miles an hour.
seconds. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go on behind it. And I got to see so much of that. And I got to become really close with my dad at that period of time. So it was a very, very cool experience that will forever be like a little feather.
It is good. And you still have that deep love of cars. And I think you've mentioned on the show, but it's worth mentioning again, you and your dad are restoring a car, right? What kind of car is it again?
We had to stow it for a while because in the summertime he bought a Corvette. And so he's been driving that around.
Oh, okay.
But we were building a T-Bucket Roadster from the ground up.
Is that still the plan? Nice. Nice.
It is.
That's
Coming
really
along.
cool. Yeah, you are an automotive girl.
A little bit.
It's why you should know that, I always have an endless supply of gifts that I can give you because anything car related, you're going to love.
This is true.
So,
If people remember that episode, I said one of my favorite Christmas gifts as a kid was
Gotcha.
a toolbox of toys.
Gotcha. So gratitude for me from life, right? So something people, one of the things that I think is important that I'm really grateful for is I'm recognizing that writing for me is not just an important thing for me to do. It's something that I'm actually good at. Now, I want to say I've known that for a while, and most people who've read my writing would go, "You're taking it this long?" And no, I've known it for a while. But in terms of looking at it with gratitude, it's similar to some things about this show. I've said many times on the show that we actually do work things out in our life by speaking them out, putting them on paper, that type of thing. And I'm grateful for the fact that I have been given an interest or I've developed an interest in a skill in doing that. Because everything I've written, I think, ever is about making meaning, me finding meaning, something. And, and I've got a renewed push with getting my book published for a while now. And what's interesting about that book, even though it's a fiction book with characters back in, 1946 in a different, alternate history universe than this one, it's about life, right? I worked out a lot of stuff over 3 years in writing that book. And I didn't realize that I was doing that for a really, really long time. I was trying to tell a really good story, and one that would feel believable and engage people, but it would be character driven. I didn't realize, perhaps naively, since I'd never written a book before, that I was actually going to be working out a lot of my own crap in the middle of it, like figuring out what I thought about things, and when writing characters that have relationships with each other that can be tension filled, or there's difficulty, there's deception, having to live all of that, write all that out and work through it. I remember being struck many times by how emotionally connected I felt to it. And there were times where I actually had to stop and kind of feel and wade through the emotions I was feeling on certain things. And having that avenue, I have found, has been so important for me to embrace, as this is the thing I do to make sense of the life that I have and the world that I live in. That creative element is so important, I think, for whatever it is, right? Whatever, if somebody knits, if somebody, creates stuff from scratch, if somebody bakes a lot, if somebody builds cars and works on those things, that creative side is so massive, I think, not just because it gives us something to do and feel proud of, but because I think we actually work out our stuff. We make meaning out of it, even if we're not aware that we're doing that.
Sure.
So I'm grateful for that.
That's fantastic. I have read some of your writings, and I am excited for our viewers and listeners and followers to read some of your writings when they're out there in the books ready for autographs and all that. But it's really a gift that you have, because I don't have that ability to sit down and write. I have the ability to sit down and read a lot of reading, but writing, it doesn't come naturally in that regard. And I don't know if it's a perfectionist thing, but I sit down and I catch myself all the time. Like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, let's start over. And I've never had it where it just flows and it becomes a masterpiece as it's being written. Except
that doesn't happen.
It is, though. With you, it is. So
there's a lot of editing in my process. There's a lot of stuff moved over. When you write it by hand, it's hard. Like when you're writing by hand, right? It's hard to erase and go back. Just kind of scratch it.
You have the typewriter?
I type it. No, not a typewriter. No.
Okay.
No, I would love one, but the clackety clack sound is really cool. But
those things are hard to type on. Side note, I went into a bookstore, surprise, near where I live, and oddly, I'm like, the world would do this for me. There was a day where it was like National Typewriter Day or something.
Yeah,
there's
recently.
All these typewriters. Yeah. Yes. And I went in there and they had real paper and ink and everything. So you could actually type away on them. And it was so fun. And some of the keys are atrocious. And I'm like, how did anyone do this? And this is why I'm like, people that did this back in the day, you really have to give them props, because it was not easy.
No.
And I mean, they probably really worked out things like slamming those keys around. But yeah.
I learned how to type on typewriters. That's how old I am. Yeah. That's how old I am. Yeah. Yeah. I learned on typewriters. Yep. Back in the day. And you know who's a big collector of typewriters? Tom Hanks.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Big collector of them. Huh. Right, Tom?
Very cool.
Because we know you listen.
That's right. He's
right.
a listener.
Yeah. This is good. Now, let me push back on something real quick, or not even push back on it, but just to kind of highlight it. When you first came on the podcast, one of the first things you said to me when we were discussing this, you were excited to do it, but you did wonder at your ability to extrapolate in the moment, right? To respond and fill the space. And for a while, you had said, it's okay if you're going to be speaking a lot because I'm going to need time to come into that. And I embrace that. You have learned how to do that. Right. So and do it well, you've grown into that. So I would suggest that just because with the writing piece, if it doesn't quote unquote come naturally, once upon a time, speaking on a mic didn't either.
It's true.
So if you were in a position where you felt you needed to do that, it was part of something you enjoyed doing, my guess is you would grow into it just as much as you've grown into speaking on the mic. So that's just my opinion.
All right.
And that's one of the things that, we have ideas about. Because
it's true.
You've got lots of good thoughts that need to be on paper for people to take a look at. So that's what's called a tease, ladies and gentlemen, with some things. So I know it's forcing you into your discomfort zone, and I like it.
Okay.
I can see it on your face. All right. Those are two really good stories. Let's take another break here.
Okay.
And when we come back, we can tell a few more of these stories, but I also have a couple of surprises for you. that we can talk about, something that you don't know about. And yeah, it should be fun.
Okay.
All right. So we'll be
Go
back
for
here in
it.
just a minute on Staying Power.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdman. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Wondering what's on next on Alternative Talk 1150? Check out 1150kknw.com.
Welcome back to Staying Power's 100th episode. I am JD here with Ashley. And we are talking about gratitude, things about the show, kind of hopefully giving you some insights into into the show, as well as to how we do things and what we're looking to do. And we're really excited to have reached this milestone. We're really excited about the next milestone, which is, of course, just episode 101, but moving beyond that. And if you've been following us for a little while, chances are over the last couple of weeks, you've noticed a few things changing, growing, moving, and we have more to come in the days ahead as Ashley and I have found our niche. We have found our cadence. We kind of know how all this fits for us. And that means the next step is to grow it and expand it. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fun to be at that. So Ashley, I think I do have surprise for the end of this, but that's fine. Just don't worry about it. Don't look at me so suspiciously. Everything's fine. It's going to be fun. However, let's tell a couple more stories for the sake of, around gratitude. Okay. And it can be about the show or they can be about life, wherever you want to go. And I'll respond to whatever you put forward.
Oh, snap. Okay. Let's see. Well, for those who don't know, because we're in this, theme of people getting to know more of us, because there's so much.
There is.
Some of you have met my equally eccentric brother. Some of you have not. Whenever somebody has known me for a bit and then they meet him, they're like, oh, that tracks. Like, you two are very, very similar, which I appreciate. And I appreciate that so much more because we're both actually adopted.
Right.
So there's a longer story, but the little short nutshell of it, just to, keep it interesting for you guys, is we were both adopted when we were born, but we're almost 4 years apart.
Right.
And we're blood related. So like my brother was born, adopted, and then 3.5 years later, I came along. And it all worked out that I was born and then adopted into the same family that had my actual blood sibling.
Which is just amazing.
Which is, yes.
Really
and it's
is.
not common.
Right.
It happens sometimes, but it's not always that common.
Right.
And to have the opportunity to grow up with my actual blood related sibling and for us to be so close and so similar. And he's been like my bestest friend since I knew what that was. And to this day, in our 30s, our mid to late 30s, we are still close. And I think we always will be. Mm-hmm. But, I meet a lot of people that don't have that same kind of relationship with family members. And as I've gotten older, I am incredibly blessed to have that. And I realize how much of it has been a gift.
Yeah, I know how important that relationship is to you. And I will affirm her brother is a good dude. And yeah, you guys definitely fit. I think honestly, if I didn't know either one of you and came across you guys sitting and talking in a coffee shop or something like that, I would know immediately. That's brother and sister. And yeah, there's a resemblance there, but a little bit. But really, it's when I see you guys interact, it is connected all the time, and it's effortless. Mm-hmm. It's effortless, right? There's no, and I'm sure you guys have moments where you're intentionally, you're really digging in, you're talking about important stuff. Mm-hmm. But that's what's kind of cool about it is you guys that's your state, natural state.
Very much. Yeah. Like we're very without intentionally trying to just always in tuned with how each other is. And if we're ever like working together on something, it's like there is such a connected piece there that I might think something and then he just does it, or vice versa. And it's like there is some sort of communication that we have going on that is not verbal, that we just understand. And it's so easy. It makes things really easy when we're working together on things. But it's just awesome.
That's really cool. Okay, so what comes up for me? I'm kind of going with what just comes to mind. It reminds me of that.
Okay.
I have a sibling as well, my sister, and she lives in Colorado, and we are also very close. We're also very different, right? We have different interests. We have kind of different music that we like, and she's lived a very different life, right? She got married. She had 2 kids. She's raised them. They're both in their mid-20s now, and she's built a really good life, right? Really good life. And my brother-in-law is a great guy. Treats her really well. They're a really close family, close knit. My niece and nephew. My niece is 25 and is a second grade teacher. She's in her second year of teaching. My nephew is 22 and just passed 1,500 hours in flight time in his training to become an airline pilot.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was a big threshold for him. And I think he can start flying for airlines once he turns 23. So he kind of finished early, right? Which is amazing. Yeah. And he's wanted to be a pilot since he could crawl. I mean, one of the first words he could say was airplane, right? And he's always wanted to do it. Yeah.
Wow.
And what I love about my relationship with them, besides just loving them for who they are, and of course I love them because they're my sister's kids, right? And my mom and my parents' grandkids. But what I've loved is getting to have the experience in some ways of being a parent without being one. It's fun to be the uncle because you get to, play around with them, talk with them, and all the hard stuff falls to, but not exactly, right? When they were younger, it was true. And I love looking back and remembering, when they were babies and I was helping take care of them. And my nephew would always want me to play these games with him. One was a rocket ship game where I'd sit on the couch and he'd stand in front of me and I'd hold on to him and I'd shake him and it'd be like, do a countdown like it was a rocket ship. And then he hit one and I'd hold him up and he would touch the ceiling. Right. And then we do it. And we would do this time and time again.
Yeah.
And of course now, he's flying. Right. So there's, get those moments. But one of the things I really am grateful for is both of those kids have, since they were teenagers, reached out to me independently to build a relationship with me that is separate from me just being part of the family. What I mean by that is reaching out to me, talk to me about stuff they're going through that maybe at the moment they weren't comfortable sharing with their parents, right? And we've had some tough conversations. There have been times I've told both of them, look, here's what I think, and you need to talk to your parents about this, and you need to take your medicine.
Let me
right?
redirect.
Yeah, you need to take your medicine, right? And it's going to be okay, but you need to bring this to them. And to be someone for them that can bring them value in their life, not just because I'm a blood relative, but because they know they can come to me and they can share tough stuff with me, and they know they're not going to get scolded, they're not going to get judged, they're not even going to get really criticized, even if they've done something that I thought was pretty dumb. I never fashioned it that way because I remember doing all that dumb stuff, right? I remember. And the fact that they have that and that I have that with them, I'm always so grateful for. And I don't tell them that often enough. It shows a lot of trust in me. It shows a lot of belief in me. And it also really helps me see them, I know the way they want to be seen, as not just the kids anymore, right? They can be brought in on all the challenges that, in the family that we talk about, that every family faces, when difficult decisions, when health things come up. They want to be included in that. And I tend to be the one in the forefront who's the most willing to not protect them from those things because they don't need it anymore.
Right.
They don't need it anymore. So that's what comes up for me is my niece and nephew.
That's really cool.
Yeah, they're great.
What a gift to have such an impact on people.
Yeah, it's nice. It really is nice. And one of those things that I never expected, really. I think I always assumed when I was younger that I would have kids, because I thought that's just what everybody did. And it just didn't work out. And some of that is because I was in the days where that would have been more possible. I was not in a good place, right? I was self-destructive. It's what I call my running and gunning phase. But that makes it sound really exciting and adventurous, and it wasn't. It was
not
destructive.
Wild West,
it was destructive and reckless. And so So there's consequences to that. And one of the gifts, though, I've been given is having that relationship with them, you know, that can be reflective of that and can help me kind of feel like, yeah, I have something to give to the next generation of my family, you know, which is nice. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Okay. I like that.
All right. Good. All right. Are you ready for the surprise?
Is it time?
It is time.
Oh, okay.
It is time.
What are we
I have
doing?
solicited feedback and questions from listeners.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Okay.
Okay.
Feedback.
So
and
I didn't put these
questions
in any of our
from a
notes.
listener.
Okay, from listeners. So
Okay.
and they're from very interesting places.
So
Okay.
what did you put out? Like, hi, need some feedback. And
I said
questions?
I want our 100th episode is coming up, and
Mm-hmm.
I want some questions, thoughts.
Oh,
things
all
like
right. Oh, I'm excited.
Yes, and they're
See?
from very interesting places. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. Some of these names have been changed to
Protect the
protect the innocent.
Protect the
I
innocent.
don't know what's the phrase. Protect the.
Oh my
I
god.
think that's the phrase. They're fine anyway. Okay,
That's not the
this
phrase.
first one is from Mara. Okay, and Mara is in Birmingham, England.
Hi, Mara.
Okay, she wants to know what's the one thing that happens behind the scenes that nobody knows about that would be most embarrassing for them to know about,
Oh, most embarrassing.
or just funny,
Probably
or
how dirty my mouth can be. To be honest, it's like as soon as this all stops rolling, it's amazing how that can flip quick. Love you, Mom.
yeah, yeah. Mara, she can cuss like a sailor. Mara. Now, she's in Birmingham.
You see, she
right?
gets it.
So she gets it. It's probably true. I remember your first few episodes of this show
lie.
that were live, right? They were live back then. And I said, there's one rule. Do not drop the following list of words on the air unless you want to see our engineer's head spontaneously combust on the other side of the board. Right.
Yeah.
And you were so nervous about it.
I know. I was.
Right. But okay. Yes, that is one. Okay.
Okay.
So now the same question for me.
Okay.
I don't think this is embarrassing, but it is revealing. I have a practice, Ashley and I have a practice before every show that I'm usually here first when we get to the studio, just because of how the timing works with our schedules. And Ashley's usually coming from a long day at work. And there's a practice that's developed because I've just come to assume, Mara and others, that she's had a rough day, okay, or at least a full day. And so all I do, she drives, and it's about what, a 15-minute drive?
Yeah.
15-minute drive for
Yeah.
you. She'll call me. We call it the principal, right? Whenever she's driving, she
Principal's
calls me
calling.
because it's called the principal. And she calls me, and so she calls me, and I ask her one question. Ashley, how are you doing? How was your day? And then for the next 15 minutes until she pulls up in the parking lot next to me, she downloads the whole day /week /whatever.
I mean, I usually try to hit the highlights.
You
but
hit
yeah.
the highlights, and of course,
a lot.
it is Ashley in the aforementioned cussing glory sometimes
Little
on
rare
what's
form.
going on. And there's a strategy to this, though, everybody, because I know she's had a day like that. She's got to have a place to download it, in part because it's good for you to be able to do that, to offload that for your psyche and for your nervous system. But I also need her to be in one piece and showing up well for this show. And she's got to put all that crap aside, put it in a box, vent it out, throw it up, pick up whatever, analogy you want, so she can feel like, oh, okay, now I can enjoy this. And this is on purpose. I do this on purpose. And what's funny, Ashley, is I think you know that I'm doing it on purpose, yet you still do it anyway.
Well, it's appreciated. He's not wrong. There are some days where I'm like, oh, no big deal, and I have not much to report. But there are majority of days I am coming from what feels like some sort of dumpster fire. And I mean, to be honest and frank, you have to reorient your sense of where you're at before you can come on a show like this, which is about connection and being very real and honest. And you have to separate things sometimes. So as I said, he was my triumph. He's a gift that keeps on giving. That's very funny how those just paired very well together.
Right.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mara,
all right.
for that
Thanks, Mara.
lovely
All right.
question.
Second one is from Owen.
Owen?
And Owen, believe it or not, is in Guam, other side of the planet. Literally,
Wow.
I strategically found these, right? So Owen would like to know, what are, if anything, the one or a couple things about each other that can kind of grind us
Oh,
a
Who
little
wants to
bit,
go
either
first?
on the air or off the air. Wants to know. because the premise of why he was asking was you guys clearly get along so well, but people who get along so well and are this close, you got to have stuff that grinds the other person. So you'd like to know what that is. So Ashley, of course you're first.
How honest are we supposed to be? As honest. There are times where, and this is, sorry. Okay. As you all know, JD is very in tune with himself. Whenever he talks about connection, he's like, I feel things. And like, he's just very aware. And there are times where he's going through something and I'm being there for him. I'm being the...
Are we talking about on the air or off the air?
Off air.
Off air.
Just in our friendship and, connection that we have. And there are times where he's like talking about things and talking with his feelings. I have to do what you just mentioned that you do for me, where sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to get a lot and I'm just going to just take it all.
So that grinds you? Does that bother you?
It doesn't bother me, but there are times where I'm like, I really got to get off the phone and I really don't want to interrupt this glorious feed of never-ending words. However...
glorious feed of never-ending words. That should be on my tombstone. Glorious feed of never-ending words.
You heard it here first. But anyways, it just... Sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, I need to end this. And he should know because I told him like 5 minutes ago, I only have 5 minutes. And he's like, da-da-da-da-da.
I can do better at time limits.
Anyways.
Yes, that's pretty good.
All right. We got like 2 minutes. What do you have?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Just 2 minutes.
We laughed our way to the top.
Okay. I would say, and again, off air, because on air, everything works out well. I would say I have times, Owen, where... when Ashley and I are talking and we're going through stuff, and I can, particularly when you're sharing something, Ashley, that's challenging, that's going on. There are times where, even though I really understand where you're coming from, I get it, I connect to it, I probably relate to it. There's times I wish I could just bundle up the strength, skill, knowledge, awareness, wisdom that you have that I don't think you always see. And I want to put it in front of your face and go, it's all right here. Make the decision you need to make or do the thing you know you need to do. You sometimes tell me, she sometimes tells me, well, if nothing else, I'm getting an education. I'm learning about all this. And there's times where, and I've asked you before, like, when do you get to graduate?
Yeah. Are you graduating yet?
Yeah. So sometimes, but that's a projection from me. Sometimes I think, I can be like, I think you can graduate from this now. But that's her choice, right? That is your choice. And I love you anyway, whether you graduate or not.
Okay.
But that's another one. So, okay. All right.
Thank you, Owen, for that. How
Thanks.
fun.
I know that was pretty fun. I had more, and we'll get to more of those because I had a bunch more, but we just ran out of time.
Just keep on going.
So we'll keep on going. Maybe in the future shows, we'll bring those things up. And if any of you from wherever you are, whether you're local to us in the Puget Sound area or you're around the world, and we have listeners around the world, please send in any questions you have. We'd love to read them on the air and give you a shout out wherever you happen to be. This was our 100th episode, and we couldn't have been more delighted to have you here for this and for however many of the other 99 that you've joined us for. We hope that you join us for the next 100. Please, once again, find us wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe, leave us a review, find our YouTube channel, and subscribe to that as well. That in particular can be really big for us. Follow us on social media. We have more coming. We have more to share. We have more places to grow, and we can't be more excited that you are along with us for the ride. And of course, tell everybody you know how cool this place is to hang out. We'll be back next week with episode 101. And I am JD.
And I'm Ashley.
We will see you guys soon. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.